CEO, wanna change your life? Come see me, yo. I'ma teach you how to build up wealth for your family, not just for yourself. I'm a bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a goal builder. I can teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black on firm, but we ain't all black.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter, coming to you live and direct. It's live. I'm live. Y'all, I'm live. For real. I'm live. For real. So, as you come in, I want to welcome you to the Fly Nubian Queen. I want to welcome you to Constance Carter. Make sure you are subscribing to the Fly Nubian Queen. Subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Share this information out to everybody you know. Make sure you subscribe to Constance Carter at CC the CEO. Share this out to everybody you know. And follow me on Instagram at I am Constance Carter. Facebook at I am Constance Carter. So as you come in, I know that we have people. Thank you, guys. Thank you for already liking. Thank you for already sharing. I'm watching. I'm seeing that you guys are sharing. I appreciate it. So as you come in, I know we have people that watch from all over the world. And you know I like engagement. You know, this is a dialogue and not a monologue. So I like for you to talk back to me, all right? So as you come in, make sure you put in the comments where you're watching from, because I see hundreds and hundreds of you guys coming in right now. So make sure you put in the comments where you are watching from, because I want to shout you out. Now, listen, I contemplated on whether I wanted to bring this guest on here, and I just want to get right to it. I contemplated on whether I wanted to bring this guest on because I kind of wanted to keep her to myself, to be honest with you. I kind of wanted to keep the information to myself because there's a lot of money out there to be made. And I connected with this brilliant woman a few months ago, and it's been absolutely life-changing. Let me tell you this. So there's a couple of principles that I always talk about. You know, when you go to different places, when you go, like I met her at the Power Networking Conference. Now, she was not even at the Power Networking Conference. She was at a whole nother conference. But every time I go to a conference, every time I go anywhere, I make the commitment. In my mind, I set the intention to say, there is going to be somebody here that's going to change my life. And I don't know if it's a person that's going to be on stage. I don't know if it's a person I'm going to have lunch with. I don't know if it's a person that I'm going to be, that I'm going to see in the bathroom, that I'm going to pass by in the hall, that I'm going to see at the networking event, at the bar, whatever. But I always set the intention that there's somebody here that's going to change my life. Shout out to Millis Kelly from Indiana. Thank you for putting that on there. And so I just happened to go outside, and me and my girlfriends went outside to smoke a cigar. And there was a lady sitting outside, and she was talking about government contracts. And I was so compelled. And see, this is how God be doing stuff. Let me tell you how God be guiding, okay? Because last year I said, I put it out in the universe that I wanted to start getting into government contracts. When I moved to the DMV, I saw how much opportunity there was in this space. I live in an area where there's a lot of Black wealth. And a lot of the Black wealth was procured through government contracts. I had no idea. When I first built my real estate business, one of the things that I did is I got certified with, all of these designations, these minority women owned business, MBE, DB, and all of these certifications. But I didn't know what to do with them. And a lot of people have wanted to get into government contracts that I know personally, but they don't know where to start. I have lots of friends who have government contracts, and everybody is not willing to give up this information. And so it's so funny how things align. I have a girlfriend, a good girlfriend of mine, Sheila. She was telling me years ago, Constance, you need to get in the game. And I didn't have time because I was really working on my real estate business. I said, girl, I don't got time for that. So she had connected with this person, Paula, that I'm going to be bringing on, went through her courses, went through her training, got a multi-million-dollar contract. Then one day, so the other thing is, if you know anything about me, you know I do the Net 7 Collective, which is a cohort of Black women from all over the country. And I teach them different wealth building strategies. Okay. So I teach them different things. We have different lessons. I bring in different top speakers from all over the country that teach different wealth strategies. And one night I had Paula in to do a class on government contracts. Mind blown. Well, I didn't know at the time. My good girlfriend that lives in my neighborhood, who's done over $500 million in government contracts. She was actually, I was in the car when we were having this class because we were on our way to a conference out in Maryland, and so I was in the class with her, and I put myself on mute, and before I got on the call, I said, "Hey, do you know Paula?" She was like, "Paula helped me get my 8A. She's brilliant." So I'm like, "What?" So all of these pieces, all the puzzles of these pieces are coming together, and all of the validation I already knew by talking to the woman that she was brilliant, and the things that she had went through and what she's doing and how many people she's helped get multi-million dollars. This is regular people that look like you and that look like me that she's helped get multi-millions of dollars in government funding and, or excuse me, government contracts. I'm here to talk to her today because I think that it's extremely important that we get in the game. Being in DC, it's the land of government contracts. I go to chamber of commerce meetings, right? I go to the chamber, I went to the DC chamber, and I heard them say, we have $1 billion set aside for Black owned businesses for contracts. Then I go to another meeting, the bi-county meeting, where they say we have $8 billion, 40% set aside for government contracts. And these rooms are full of Black people that want the government contracts. They're like, we can't get them. It's because their businesses aren't properly set up correctly in order to receive them. There's a method to the madness. So Paula has been instrumental in helping so many people be able to crack the nut of getting into government contracts. So let me just tell you a little bit about Miss Paula. Miss Paula, let me bring her bio up. She's the founder and CEO of Government Procurement, GPI, Government Procurement Innovators. She's had an impressive journey. In the early days of her career, Miss Watts, owned and operated a highly successful business, securing over $15 million in contracts through the SBA's 8A business development under her leadership. In 2005, she made a transition and later joined the SBA. In 2008, during her time in the SBA, she played a crucial role in assisting multiple 8A firms to secure multi-million-dollar federal contracts. She's passionate about sharing her knowledge, and that's the thing here. She's so passionate about sharing her knowledge. She's conducted over 2,000 seminars on various topics, including small businesses, startups, and expansions, and effectively marketing strategies for federal government contracts. So since she established GPI in 2015, her and her team have accomplished an impressive results. They provided training to over 3,000 businesses on marketing to the federal government. But what's even more remarkable, you guys, they've assisted small business enterprises in securing over $1 billion in contracts across diverse industries across the U.S. You don't hear me. It's not a game. We have a huge heavy hitter right here that's getting ready to drop some nuggets on you. And again, I wanted to be selfish. I really did. I wanted to be selfish and keep her to myself because she teaches the Net 7 Collective in our 12-week cohort about government contracts. And I didn't know if I wanted to share with, hundreds of thousands of people because I want to get them government contracts. Now, if you see this information, you're going to be competing with me. And I wasn't sure that I wanted to do that. But I'm going to go ahead because, what I understand is what God has for me is for me, and what he has for you is for you. And so you are watching this at such a time where you are receiving information. If you are here under the sound of my voice, this is for you. So I want you just to take copious notes. I want you to listen to Miss Paula. We're going to deep dive and talk about, the government contracts, kind of go through the history of where she's been, what she's doing, and why it's so critical for you to get in the game of government contracts. So, Miss Paula.
Hi, thank you.
Let me tell you something. You are so absolutely amazing, Miss Paula. And like I said before you got on, you've helped so many people. Look, somebody said God is good. They are listening. People who are listening right now are listening for a reason. Maybe some of them have wanted to get into government contracting. Maybe some of them were looking for another opportunity. But why? Okay, first of all, why should people get into government contracting before I ask you other questions? But why should they even do it?
Because the federal government is the largest buyer of goods and services in the world. Last year, they awarded $69 billion in contracts to small businesses, just small businesses.
How many were awarded to minority-owned businesses?
I don't have the exact number. Let me pull it up. It was somewhere around 50 billion, just those that are participants of that 8A program. And I'm
Wow.
not quite sure if people even understand that program.
Yeah. I want to get into that. But before we do that, so let's talk about your past. Okay, so how did you get into government contracts in the first place, Miss Paula?
Well, I'm originally from Asheville, North Carolina. And after college, I went to Washington, D.C.
The
And my
land
very,
of government contracts.
yes, I was like, I died and went to heaven. That was Chocolate City.
Right.
And I had never seen that many Black business owners in my life. And that was at 25. So I had role models that showed me the pathway and gave me the incentive. Okay, if they can do it, I can do it.
Right.
So I started my pathway of becoming an entrepreneur in my first business by 35. So I went through 5 companies that was a part of that program that we're going to discuss. And I started my first business in 1996. In the first year in business, I received my first $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program, received my second $3 million contract. And within 5 years, I grew that business pretty quickly, where I went to close to $15 million in contracts and almost 40 employees.
Wow.
And I really didn't have a clue what I was doing.
What?
I went from a project manager to running a multi-million dollar company and didn't have a clue with what I was doing. And so I had 2 business partners, one who felt like he could run all his personal expenses through the business. The last straw for me was a $3,000 custom-made pinstripe suit with his initials going down the pinstripe. And I was like, you have lost your mind.
On the business.
On the business. So I ended up having my assistant to do an audit on his credit card. He takes her in the elevator and threatens her. So now I had to make tough decisions. So I ended up terminating him, and he conspired with 2 of the employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment. So after 2 years of attorney fees, $125,000 and 100 in attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out, I had no more operating cash, and I closed the business in 2005. And it pushed me to my new passion, because I realized no one was training our community on how to start a business, manage a business on that level. So I started volunteering as a SCORE counselor. I'm very strategic. I positioned myself to be hired by the Small Business Administration. And I was hired by SBA in 2008. And I was hired in the Philadelphia district office. And me, it's always been an argument with God. It's like, God, I don't know anybody in Pennsylvania. Do I have to leave, CC? It's like, yes, you have to go. And I had a girlfriend that lived there. So I stayed with her for 6 months, but he strategically placed me in the office that processed all the applications for those businesses applying into that program. My job was to service those businesses. So I got to see both sides. And what I realized once I left that DMV area, and I'm sure just as you've been in California, no one heard of this program.
Right. But you can get these contracts and you could do this business from anywhere in the country.
Correct. And in this specific program, it is designed to build your business for 9 years allowing you to go to any federal agency and they can award up to $4 million in contracts with no competition. That's how I grew that first business so quickly. Um, because these are contracts that aren't advertised anywhere.
So in order to get these contracts, you have to have your 8A certification.
That is correct. But I don't even push people to that program because what I saw on the inside, and because there's a term limit, most of the participants did not receive their first contract award, generally their fourth or fifth year. And I had 40 participants that I was servicing. And out of the 40, only 4 or 5 was really receiving contracts. So I knew there was an issue. One, that no one in our community has even heard of it just based on the numbers registered in the program. And two, no one was training businesses. SBA has wonderful resource partners, but it's information based. No one is teaching you the process. That's what was missing.
And that's where you're bridging the gap.
Absolutely. I created templates from that first business and what I saw on the inside of SBA and the businesses that were successful. Um, and helping everyone to understand you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just follow the blueprint.
That right there. So, Ms. Paula, what do you think is the reason why some small businesses or Black-owned businesses are not getting the contracts?
Well, most small businesses will start their business on their skill set.
We just talked about that.
And SBA's resource partners will always tell you start with your skill set, go after local and state contracts because you're not prepared to go after federal contracts. And I think that was the biggest lesson I learned in that first business. When I started that first business as an event planning company, my mentor asked me, why are you pigeonholing yourself? And when he said that, it made sense. I looked at those 6 companies that I'd gone through, and all of them were doing the same thing. So I changed my business model to management consultant and created divisions. I had an administrative division. I had an IT division, had a publications communication division, had a database division. And then I started getting contracts in all those areas. It was no longer based on my skill set.
So if you guys don't understand what she's talking about, people think that once they have to create a company, or if they have a company, it's based upon what their background is. So if you have a background in administration, you will only have an administration business. If you have a background in real estate, you have a real estate business where you're only servicing real estate. And the idea is not to pigeonhole yourself to just being specific to one area, because the idea is what? How are they looking at it? They're basically a broker. How does that work, Paula?
Meaning, your project management. If I can get people to understand your role in this space is to find the people or the vendors that the government is looking for in these opportunities, and you're putting your money on top of it. It doesn't matter what the opportunity is, because the process is still the same. Your job is to find the skill sets required to complete the task in that opportunity and manage the project, if that makes sense.
So people think that they actually have to do the job.
That is correct. And believe it or not, that after doing this for 9 years and all these people that's come through the program, that's the biggest challenge, because we've been programmed to be laborers. No one has
Ooh, come
taught
on.
us how to be CEOs.
That part right there. That's a bar right there because listen, as I was building my business, Paula, in real estate, I spent my time doing $20 an hour jobs when I should have been doing $100 an hour or $1,000 an hour jobs.
Mhm.
As I'm growing as a CEO, right? I remember I was at a conference one time, right? And so I'm in a small group because it's a bit. Yeah, I was always attending business conferences, and I'm in a small group. And there's the CEO from Canada. This is a white guy, maybe in his 50s, and he has a multi-million-dollar business. And so I get up to talk about my business, and I'm talking about all the things that I do, but I'm doing the things that are not CEO tasks. I'm doing the marketing. I'm doing this. I'm doing I'm doing all this other stuff. And I can't. I can never forget. I'll never forget the guy. He goes, "You're CEO?" He was confused, and I said, "Yeah." He was like, "Hmm." Like no judgment, but that meant a whole lot, right?
Mhm.
Because he was confused.
Mhm.
You're the CEO, but yet you are doing the administrative work. You out here showing houses, you doing the marketing, you're doing everything else, and you should be the visionary.
Mm.
And so, what you're saying, Paula, is people need to learn how to operate as the CEO and not the laborer.
That is correct. And what I like to tell my businesses, my father wanted me to play sports. And so when I look at business, I look at it as a sport. And most of our community, when you look at the NBA as an example, we encourage our children to become LeBron or Stefan. And I ask the question all the time, if LeBron and Stefan is making $200 million, how much is the owner making?
Right.
And does the owner need to know anything about basketball? Absolutely not.
Mm,
His role is to get 5 players to bring him the goal so that he can make more money.
that's it. That's it. So that's the lesson in this, everyone, is when you're looking at government contracts, you do not have to do the work. And that's a much different approach that Paula teaches than a lot of other people who teach how to get into government contracts, because they're more focused on why don't you do the things that you're good at? Why don't you focus on the things that you're good at? And really, you are, what did you call it? A project manager.
Mm-hmm.
You're good at managing a project. You're
Mm-hmm.
good at putting the people in the places that they need to be in order to do the things that they can do. So what's some low-hanging fruit? So is that what you think people should do? Like once they get into government contracts, should they focus on the low-hanging fruit first? Kind
Oh,
of get
absolutely. It's a whole strategic approach I like to take our businesses through. And if I can get real estate agents, if I have any of them online, if you think of all the tasks behind the real estate agent, everyone always are saying, I'm a real estate agent, but you're more than a real estate agent. You're working hard for 7 days a week on a hope and prayer. I call that. We hope we get to closing. But think of the tasks. You're just managing those individuals. So when I look at low hanging fruit, those are buys that are 250,000 and below that are specifically for total small businesses without any certifications. These contracts are set aside specifically for you as a small business. And some of those purchases could be landscaping. They need someone to keep the grass maintained, or janitorial, catering. The government buys everything, products.
So you mean to tell me, Paula, if I get a janitorial business, I ain't got to scrub no toilets, or if I get a landscaping business, I ain't got to mow no lawns, or if I get a catering business, I ain't got to cook the food.
Exactly. That's your job, is to make sure they do what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of federal contracts is it's worldwide. And so what I've found in working with a lot of SBA's resource partners is they'll tell you to get the low. Not that we don't want that money, but if you think about the logic, those WBEs, those DBEs, those MBEs, all of those E's, that's what I call them. Those are local and state certifications, local and city certifications. You're competing with a whole lot more people within that community. And in the DBEs, they never allow you to become your own boss. You still have to be a subcontractor. So you don't even know what kind of money that prime is winning from the government. Whereas to me, not that I don't want that money, because that's still our tax dollars. And I think that's where the disconnect is in our community. We don't understand that these federal contracts are our tax dollars. So to me, start at the federal, win the low hanging fruit, and come down to the local and city, because that's still our money.
That's interesting. So let me ask you, the government can't go to Walgreens and buy toilet paper?
No, they will hire a vendor contractor to go purchase toilet paper.
So they can't hire their own people to go and clean parks?
You're all government. That's all government contract. The government cannot function without government contractors.
What kind of people do you think can do a government contract? Because let me tell you this. So now that I'm here, and this is great because I'm meeting these people and I'm seeing, and so my girlfriend's like, oh, she got a $20 million contract. She got a $10 million contract. She got a $15 million contract, right? Or he got a contractor. And these are people, I mean, they, rolling in Lamborghinis and stuff, but they don't even look that bright. I'm like, if she could get a contract, if he could get a contract, why can't I get a contract? Do you have to be like a rocket science to get these contracts?
Oh, absolutely not. It's just following the blueprint. What I did through my program was create templates so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. What I will consistently say is I'm dressing everyone up so that you look like everybody else, understand how to talk the language, and now you're ready to go date. So for me in this space, the ultimate goal is to teach you how to align yourself with a potential mentor in the SBA's All Small Mentor Protege program. That program allows that mentor to put your business on steroids, meaning in order for them to qualify into the program, they have to provide certain functions. And you can put that in the chat. It's the All Small Mentor Protege. If you go to their website, you can see what that mentor is supposed to do for you in that program. And so what that does, it allows that mentor to access contracts that they can't. Meaning they may be too big to compete for total small business contracts, too big to compete for a woman-owned small business. That's how you're able to leverage their resources, their experience, their infrastructure to put your business on steroids. That's the game we're going to play.
So Paula, okay, so let me just make sure that I understand this. As a small business, I connect with a mentor, who has government contracts. They help me to get. How do they help me as a small business? The mentor.
Part of the Mentor Protege program, there are 5 components that mentor is obligating themselves to fulfill. It's helping you with your proposal writing, if you need financing for those contracts, it helping you build an accounting system, helping you develop a strategy, because your mentor already has that infrastructure in place. You get to have access to all of their resources, and that's part of their commitment in being your mentor.
So what's in it for them?
Did you hear me say a total of what was it, $69 billion in contracts that they couldn't access?
Oh, so do they get a piece of what you're able to get?
There, you're able, once you are in that program, you're able to create a joint venture.
Ah,
By
okay.
creating that joint venture, that mentor now gets your status as a small business and any certification, which now allows that joint venture to go after larger contracts. But you're going to always be in control because you have to own 51% of that joint venture.
Mm.
Mm.
So once a person gets their, gets their business established, typically how long does it take to get a contract?
That's based on the commitment. Mhm. It's based on how much effort you put in. And what I would like to say is that our program is not necessarily just government contracts, by no means. It's a holistic approach, meaning you have to understand what documentations SBA is going to be looking for when you start applying into those programs. And unless you've worked on the inside of SBA, nobody understands that. I've had one young lady, and if people go to my business too, she started her business. That was in 2020, and she met me at the end of 2020. She met me in 21, and by the end of 21, she had won 8 contracts.
Worth
um,
how much?
it one was for 450,000 in Hawaii. The other one was another one in North Carolina. And I interviewed her. She's on my website, and she set the bar for everyone because not only has she won um, 8 contracts, I said total of 1.5 million in that 8 months. She has 2 babies that were under 5,
Wow, she's a young
and
girl.
she was still working full time. And
Wow.
so I had her run down your schedule, and she ran it down. So what I find is people always have one foot in, one foot out. If you're going to get into this game, you've got to be committed and understand this is or deprogramming your mind, and understand this is real, but you've
Hmm.
got to put the work in.
Hmm. So, um, Paula, what do you think with the election coming up? How is that going to impact government contracts?
It doesn't, for the most part. Having most of my career in DC, whether it's Republicans or Democrats in there, there's still going to be a need for government contracts. Typically, the Republicans in the old days were more pro-business, meaning they outsourced. They made the government smaller and outsource a lot of the work. Democrats were known for big government. They want to keep everything on the inside. But regardless of who's in office, contracts have to be awarded. um, they have to be awarded. They can't function without government contract.
What 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 is the purpose of like having these certifications? Is did we talk on here or did we not? Because I wanted to know if it was necessary to have a government or to have a certification.
Um,
Did I ask you that? I know I asked you that, but I don't know if I asked you that before we got online or after. Is it necessary?
I'll repeat it. Every year, SBA monitors and set goals for every federal agency. These goals entail that 23% of contracts have to be set aside for small businesses, 5% if you're a woman-owned small business, 5% for participants in the 8A program, 3% for hub zone businesses, 3% for service disabled veteran-owned small businesses. So what that means for you, the more certifications you have, the more you're helping that agency meet their goals. As an example, let's say an agency awarded you a contract for $100,000 just as a small business. That agency now gets $100,000 credit towards their goal. So let's say you're a small business and woman owned. Now that agency gets $200,000 credit towards their goal. So the more certifications you have, you're helping that agency achieve their goals.
Can these be self-certified, or do they have to be actual certified through the state?
This is all federal.
Or they have to be federal certification.
Correct. You can self-certify as a small business and as a small disadvantaged business. And all of that is under SAM.gov, Systems for Awards Management. There are
what about
women-owned?
Women-owned? Can you self-certify as a woman-owned business as well?
There are 4 programs that require formal certifications through SBA, meaning you have to complete and submit an application for approval. That includes the 8A Business Development Program, the Women's Program, which is broken into 2 components, economically disadvantaged, and WOSB, just a woman-owned small business, the Hub Zone Program, and now they've put the veteran certification under SBA's umbrella.
So I'm seeing more and more people come on here, and this is getting gooder and gooder and gooder as we are going along. So as you are watching this, make sure you subscribe to the Fly Nubian Queen. Make sure you subscribe to CC, the CEO. Paula, where can they follow you?
If they go to my website, I would love for everyone to go there. We have a lot of business too, where I have a business too. That's GPIwin.com. And part of my mission is we have to come together and share. We can no longer afford to hoard the knowledge. So part of people that become a part of our community, they have to commit to a couple of things. They have to commit to coming back and sharing their story. They have to commit to adopting a school in the hood, because we have to take care of our community. And they have to sponsor 2 people through the program once they start winning their millions. Our most successful client, I'm so proud of her. She won a $1 billion contract last spring doing asset management for USDA. She came back and she interviewed, and she tells the good and the bad of the process. Until we realize the power.
What type of assets was she managing? I'm sorry.
All of USDA foreclosed properties. So not only the foreclosed properties, she has the whole realm of it, from the mortgage, the lending, working with the title companies, the lawyers, the whole components of the real estate space.
Wow.
And understanding the power we have collectively, I think that's where we've gotten away from. If we can understand, we can shut America down in a week.
That part right there. And that's the thing that really made me so akin to you, Paula, when I first met you. Because you were talking about it in such a way, you were so passionate about it, but you were talking about getting us in the game, getting African Americans in the game. You talked about real generational wealth, like really being able to accumulate generational wealth to where you are able to really change the lives of yourself, your community, your children, your children's children. Why are you so passionate about that?
For me, it goes back to the childhood. You know, they say in therapy, everything goes back to your childhood.
Right.
But for me, I don't think anyone talks about the children of the civil rights. So it's so appropriate that we're having this conversation today.
Right, on MLK Day. Yes. Let's go.
The children of the civil rights, meaning I was the child of the civil rights era, meaning they used us and forced us to become integrated in these schools in North Carolina that weren't prepared for us.
Mm.
So we were forced to close all our new schools and go to these white schools, and they weren't prepared, and they're still not prepared for us. But when we were segregated, we had all our teachers. They made sure that we were educated. My father was one of the first black police officers in that town. He sued the city because of racism.
Mm.
We don't have that collective community that we had before. And to me, it's systematic. When we're talking about gentrification right now, gentrification started with urban renewal when they went and stole my grandmother's land and put all of my community in projects. But the problem that they had in North Carolina was in Asheville, because Asheville is a tourist city, they put the projects on prime land by the mountains and the waters. So now they want that land back. And now
Wow.
they've gone in there and destroyed the projects that had people that were communities. And where's the community now? So for me, my passion, my purpose, and the whole purpose of creating GPI is that I have my community back. We've given our talent away for so long and not giving it back to ourselves. And
Mm.
we are the only ones that's going to save us, as our ancestors did. The ancestors knew, if I could just speak the language, if I could just read, then I know my children's children will be okay. And
Wow.
for me, it's the same purpose. If
Mm.
you all can just learn this government contract, learn the language, learn the business, then the children's children will be set. So for me, it's bigger than you. It's bigger than all of us. It's us understanding how we pull our resources and skill set that we've given away to everyone and come back and feed ourselves through these contracts.
That's why I love you, because you really have a passion about helping our people. And when you talk about, going back to the children of the civil rights, going back even further, when you talk about collective economics and you talk about integration and segregation, when they had Greenwood, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the thing that killed Black Wall Street was not the fire and the bombs that happened, because they rebuilt. They only rebuilt to maybe 300 businesses. The thing that killed Black Wall Street ultimately was integration.
Mm-hmm.
Is because when we didn't have to work with each other, we no longer worked with each other. And
Mm-hmm.
so then we thought other things were better. You look at the Negro League. The Negro League was destroyed by integration. You had all of these talented people, and the Negro League could have went a lot further
Mm-hmm.
had they put their resources inside this league. But every time we have an opportunity to work outside of our communities, we abandon our communities, and then everything falls. So, this right here, what you are doing for our communities and providing an outlet and a resource to have true wealth, because this is millions and billions of dollars out there. My neighbors, girl, my neighbors live in these mansions over here, driving these McLarens and these Rolls Royces and these Bentleys because of government contracts. And going back to Marion Barry, right? Marion Barry,
Mm-hmm.
everybody outside of DC. I didn't know this, right? So I'm not from DC.
Yeah.
So when we hear about Marion Barry outside
Yes.
of DC, what do we hear?
Mm-hmm.
Brag,
Mm-hmm.
all that, right? But here, it is blasphemous for you to say something bad about Marion Barry here, because he created all this opportunity for African Americans, this economic opportunities for Black people, which is the reason why they set him up in the first place.
Correct.
They
Correct.
was mad, but all these people were able to build wealth through working with the federal government because of people like Marion Barry and all of the people that have gone on. And so these people are intentional. from what I've seen in being in these meetings,
Mhm.
they say we want to do business with Black people. We want you to be able to be in a space, in a place where you build wealth, but you have to have your businesses set up properly. There is a blueprint. This lady has created the templates, so you ain't even got to think, nor do you have to reinvent the wheel.
And I think it's changing well on how we were brought here. We were brought here and taught to compete against each other. In this space, and that's why I put people into teams. We've got to learn how to work together.
Yes.
Um, I may not I may not be the first in line, but the next person is in line. And so for me, I get angry when I'm in my community and you go to all these other cultures, not that I have anything against them, but how are they setting up selling us beauty supplies and
In our own
making
community.
lots of money? How are they managing and taking over these nail salons? And half the time, not even speaking English. Half the time, you don't see any of us in there working behind those gas stations or Dunkin' Donuts or beauty salons.
Miss Paula, I remember I'm from San Jose, and I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm from San Jose, right? And so a friend of mine, Sheila, she's been through your program. She was working. This is before I really even knew about government contracts. This has had to be about 7, 8 years ago, maybe. And there was I forget the gentleman's name, but he passed away. But he had this African American organization where he always taught about how to procure government contracts.
Mhm.
So she said, Constance, I want you to come to this meeting. It's about how to procure government contracts. So I go to this meeting. The only Black people in this meeting are the people throwing it. There was not a one Black person in the audience. It was a packed house.
Mhm.
We are not taking advantage of this information.
Mhm.
And so I love the fact that you are so intentional about doing that. But it's like I'm holding this money in front of you. I'm holding these opportunities in front of you. All you got to do is reach out and get it.
Mhm.
And it's right here.
It is. And so for me, when I relocated here to Atlanta, Georgia, and again, I started studying the numbers. It's all in the data. We have to learn to study the number. They always studying us and our numbers and data. That's how they're creating strategies around our community. They
Right.
studying. So when I moved here to Atlanta in 2012, there was only 172 businesses in the entire state of Georgia, a part of the 8A program, again, which technically was designed for minority-owned businesses. And what I was finding was businesses from the DC area were coming here to Georgia to win contracts. There was no competition. Here in Georgia, you had CDC and 5 military bases. In every state, there's going to be a federal agency. There's a courthouse. Every agency is going to need a government contractor.
Every state. So one of the things that kind of blew me away when we talked and you did your presentation with the ladies of the Net 7 Collective is you talked about how where the businesses were concentrated with the government contracts. Now they're able to do anybody anywhere is able to do business with the federal government, but where are most of the businesses concentrated that are actually getting the contracts?
Um, it's all over. Most of them I will say, is in the DMV area.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, you're competing against a whole lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a young lady that I interviewed that started her business in January of that last year, and she won 6 contracts. She's here in Georgia. Her first contract was in Iowa doing janitorial services. She performed well in doing that cleanup on that facility. That government agency gave her a heads up. Hey, we have another contract for landscaping in South Dakota. Can you do this contract? Yes. She won that contract.
So
Mhm.
I'm sorry. So what I'm saying is there's contracts all over the place, but most of the businesses who are getting the contracts are mostly in DC because they know about them more than anybody. You can get a contract anywhere, but when you showed, I think you showed a map or something, and you were saying most of these people are in the DC area, but anybody could get them. And so you guys don't even realize that everybody everywhere could actually get these contracts.
Correct, correct. But most of the people that are in that designated certification, as I say, the numbers was consistent. Um, they're not winning their first contracts until their fourth or fifth year, unless they've piggybacked back onto some of the people graduating from that program and they're walking in with contracts.
What would you say is the biggest myth that most common people have about government contracts?
I can't do it. I'm not prepared. I'm too small. That I don't have the skill set. And I will consistently say it's not about your skill set. It's about project management.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that people are lucky that get it, or do what sets somebody apart that gets it that doesn't?
It's been consistent. It's like any other business. The government contracting is no different than any other business. You have to market, you have to compete, you have to build relationships. All business, regardless of what it is based on relationships.
And as you do the work, as your company does the work, is there some type of metric or grading system that they get graded when they complete the work?
Absolutely. The government has a system where they would key in how you performed on that contract.
Okay.
And my goal is to make sure that you understand. Everybody wants to just jump in and get contracts. Mm-hmm. And that's what I don't want you to do, because I don't want you to get into something that you don't even know what you don't know.
Right.
So it's important for me that you get everything and understand what you're getting into.
Can a person lose their ability to get contracts?
Absolutely. If they win a contract and don't perform, the government can terminate that contract for default, meaning that's kicking you out the game completely.
Ooh, and ain't nobody.
And you also have to understand that you have to finance these contracts. We don't think about contracts or getting the contracts, meaning you don't get paid until you at least work the month. Mm-hmm. So you need to be able to cover costs associated with that contract before you get paid, which means you need to start aligning yourself up with financing. I'm doing a webinar Friday with Stacy, who's, again, she has about 120 employees and Amazon. She's going to talk about factoring companies. What are the do's and don'ts? And for those of you who don't know what factoring companies are, in our terms, I like to say they cash stores for businesses. You know how they have those cash stores in our communities to get your paycheck?
Oh, yeah. Payday loans.
That's what factoring companies are for businesses. So that's a way for you to get access to financing those contracts. But again, you need to understand the rules.
And that's what I love about your class is, and I've taken the class. And so that's what I love about it, is because you say, look, the part of you going through the class is, here are some financiers. I want you to make an appointment. This is part of your homework. You make an appointment with a financer so that you can set up your business, so that you can get funding. Because what happens is, just like you said, you still got to pay your employees. You got to pay for all of that stuff before the government pays you. It might be net 30, net 60, net.
It's net 30. They have a prompt payment ask. That's why I love the government. If they don't pay you within those 30 days, they have to start giving you interest, and that's based on the correct invoice. And I think the other weakest challenge that I find with small businesses entering into this space is understanding their accounting system.
Mm.
You can't just hire um, Joe tax keeper to do your books in this space, because the government is looking for your accounting system to be set up in a specific way to capture all the information.
Mm.
We don't, again, focus on the infrastructure to support the contract. You can't have one without the other.
There's so many variables. And that's why, going back to me going to these meetings, and, every time I go to the bi-county roundtable meeting with Delegate Barnes here in the DMV, and he's like, look, he's bringing people every week. I got another person that want to give you they want to give you money. This person want to give you, and everybody's like, we want the money. We can't get the money. It's because their businesses aren't set up properly.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you got the business, you might even have some certifications, but there is more to it than just those two components. And that's what I think people fail to realize,
Mm-hmm.
is that it's a whole system.
Mm-hmm.
But the great thing is you've made it you've made it really comprehensive. I don't want to say simple, but you've made it really comprehensive to where here's the templates. This is the A, B, C, D of how you get the contract.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
And how you set up your business. Because before we even start, if you recall in the first module, before you even start looking at contracts, we make you go look at the budget, understand how you leverage your congressional representative. Most of us don't even know who our congressional representatives are. But in this space, that's your ammo, because that's the only time I saw an agency react is when one of those small businesses had their congressman submit a inquiry on their behalf.
What was the craziest contract that you've seen?
As it relates to what do you mean?
So I don't know if it was you that told me, but somebody got a contract for like $1 billion or something crazy to do something with some monkeys or something. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, that was Stacy. That's the one who's going to be doing the webinar on Friday. Her background was real estate. We changed her business model, so it's not all real estate. She applied into the program, and her very first contract was testing monkeys with HIV in the lab at CDC.
Wow.
She didn't know anything about monkeys, HIVs, or lab testing. She just picked up those same people that had been on that contract for 10 years. And because she was a part of that 8A program, that's how she got that contract. She just picked up the same people to hire. She called them up. What do you do in your job? That's how we had to put a proposal together. But she used their employees.
So two things. So the 8A program, we've seen a lot of things with, what's going on with affirmative action and a lot of these discrimination lawsuits that have been in place. And so they put 8A on hold right now, or is it back?
It's not on hold. They've changed how they recognize and accept your social disadvantage. The program is primarily based on two components, whether you're socially and economically disadvantaged. Previously, for the social component, as long as you were a member of these 5 ethnic groups, which include African Americans, you automatically met the social component. Because of the lawsuit in June on affirmative action and someone suing SBA, now what has to occur is you have to write a narrative describing how you've been discriminated here in America. And you can't really say that it's just because you're Black. They want more details.
And do you know how that's gone over?
It's to me, it's subjective. Mm-hmm. Whoever's reading it mm-hmm. can have the right to say, no, I don't think you were discriminated against. But again, I'm a strategist. The challenge I see happening with SBA is a lot of the people have left, and I pull them on my side
Oh,
that got the knowledge of SBA, know the language that SBA is going to be looking for when
mm.
you're submitting anything to them.
What do you think about? Because I heard, people who have the contracts, they have these gatekeepers on the SBA side, people who want to keep certain people from being able to get these contracts. What do you think about that?
I don't think that that the process works this way.
That's it.
Let's say you're in the 8A program and you go market to an agency. I have this certification, and the agency knows it's a business development program. That's why they have those contracts that are called sole source. The agency said, well, I like what you're doing, and I think I want to give you a chance. The agency now submits that award, submits that offer to SBA. SBA has to accept it on your behalf. Once they accept it, now they're out of the loop and you're negotiating with that agency. If you have those types of gatekeepers that's preventing you from getting in the door, that's how we leverage the congressional representatives. If you have any challenge, that's what they're there. They're supposed to be representing you. You can
Mm.
reach out to your congressional representative to submit a letter to SBA or any agency requesting additional information on why you're not getting service.
Wow.
Those agencies now have a certain period of time to respond to that letter. You automatically move up the ladder.
Mm. Wow. So, Paula, can you tell us about your cohort?
Yes, we have a cohort our next cohort is rolling out January 23rd, but I've partnered with Net7. And anybody that have gone through her cohort, they have a discount. And she has the links in the chat. It's eight.
However, what we are doing now is we are extending it to the people who are viewers of this program. So if you are a viewer of this program, you actually get the same Net7 discount
You
that
do.
Paula has been so gracious. And I think we only have a few spots that are left because Net7 has taken up most of the spots. So, but anyway, tell us about your cohort.
Yes, we have a limit of 25 per cohort. You meet weekly for an hour and a half in the evenings from 8 to 9 p.m. 9:30 p.m. You have homework.
Eastern, right?
Eastern time, yes. And you have homework and lab assignments each week, which is applicable towards your business. We also have office hours on Tuesdays, in addition to your weekly class and lab sessions, where all the cohorts come together. And if you have questions, and I'm usually on the office hours where I go into more depth of what you're learning in class. But really, the goal is to create a community. Each one knows each other. We can start partnering, looking at opportunities. We
Yeah.
have 2,300 people in our database.
So, what's the difference in taking your class than just doing some Google searches online? Why would I need to take your class?
It's information based. Our cohorts or our program is process driven. It's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And everything that you're doing is you're doing it for your business. I
Mhm.
don't guarantee after you complete all 3 modules, which is business ready, that's you making sure your documents are in order to apply and certify into the programs that you can. The second module is teaching us how to team together. We put you into teams. The third module is all around all small mentor protege program and the business plan, which is key. Um, we we well, I think that's it. Yeah, every week that you're going to meet.
Wait, you didn't say the third module.
Oh, third module is contract ready. It's business ready, government ready, contract ready. Each of those modules are 6 weeks each. The whole program is 18 weeks. And the goal is by the time you complete it, that your business will be registered properly in these databases. You understand who your target clients are, how to market them, what you should say, what are they looking for in your solicitation, what type of insurance and things that you should have to cover your business. What does a winning proposal look like? So everything I took from that first business, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Follow the blueprint.
Follow the blueprint.
I also now have a self-paced class as well. For those of you who don't want to participate in the live session with a live instructor, we have 16 weeks pre-recorded sessions, and you can listen to the recordings at your pace, but you still have access to the office hours and the lab sessions each week.
So, Paula, I know a couple of government contract trainings that are about 12 weeks, and they range anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000 to take the training. How much is your training?
It is $1997 for
$1,997.
That's correct. And if you want to bring in a team member, it's $1,000. Because again, my goal is to make it cost effective so that I can build generational wealth.
True generation. So let me tell y'all, when I was already primed when I met Paula. So when she said that price, we sitting outside smoking cigars. And I was like, where do I, like, right when we were sitting down there, I signed up immediately because I knew the value. And that's the thing about me. If I know the value of something, if I feel the value, I'm right away. But there was no question in my mind because I had already vetted several training programs, and I know how much they cost. I know that they're anywhere between $12,000 and $18,000.
Yeah, I had one young lady told me this evening she'd been following somebody on YouTube, and she reached out to her, and she was charging her fees were $50,000.
Yeah.
And like, that's just insane to me.
The idea is if I'm helping you get millions of dollars, $50,000 is a drop in the bucket. So can you imagine? I mean, listen, 18 weeks. Each module is 6 weeks long each. So they're thorough. They really give you an understanding. These ladies from the Net 7 Collective that have already been through it, because the first cohort, they are going through it right now. If I wish I had some testimonials, they are so pleased and they are so happy that they have gone through it, that Paula is just absolutely amazing. The second cohort is actually getting ready to go through this program right now, and everybody is like stoked. You know what's funny? I do so in the Net 7 Collective. I do strategy sessions with the ladies, and we talk about, so I give them the step by step of how to, do everything they need to do. And so one of the ladies I was doing a strategy session with, because people they generally don't know how to get into government contracting. Mm-hmm. And so she said, I was telling my friend about, the government contracting thing. And she was like, well, how are you able to do that? And she said, I started to tell her. And I was like, heck no, she gonna work for me. And I said, girl, get up off my phone. Get up off my line right now. She was like, I'm keeping it to myself. But here's the thing. You don't have, I wanted to keep Paula to myself. But I think it's so valuable because if we talk about true generational wealth, there are opportunities out there for you to have access to. And that's the only thing that we want from you, is to be able to give you access to the things that are right at your fingertips. So Paula, so let me just get the links for the folks if they want to sign up for
The discounted race.
yep.
Rates.
Is that cool?
That is correct.
Okay, so I'll put
and to me, it's you're never really competing. The government's never going to run out of contracts.
right.
When you start competing on those low-hanging fruit, what I found in studying the data consistently, you're only competing with 2 or 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, everybody. Oh, I didn't even see all of these comments on here. Somehow the comments aren't showing up. Let me get the other one. So that one is the single price. That's for the single person, right? And then
Yes, that's $19.97.
and then if you want to do the team members,
it'll be $29.97.
and I did immediately. I did it for me and my daughter, and my daughter has been like learning so much about business, about partnership,
That part.
all of those things. And she's 24 years old.
That
and
part.
So I'm setting her up because really, I don't want to work hard no more. I worked hard a long time. I'm setting this up for my children to be able to create generational wealth with them. That's what it's for. So I told my son, I was like, listen, we're doing this business. I know you want to go to law school. He's like, I want to forge my own way. I said, okay, do you want to make this little $60,000, $100,000, or do you want to make millions? It's up to you, son. He was like, I want to make millions. Right answer. So all of this is for my 4 children. And I know that that's the reason why you do it, is because you just really want to be able to help people like me and people like the people who are watching be able to create generational wealth. And that's what
to me, it's the children's children. You know what I mean?
Yes.
My generation, we benefited from the civil rights, and we never went back and pulled up. And that's why within our community, we have the haves and the have-nots. And we can no longer afford to have that. We need to, for me, as that 25-year-old, seeing all these Black business owners, Black millionaires, I had a role model. What are your children seeing?
Right. And that's the thing. And that's the thing that I love about this area, is because, I go to my doctor. My doctor's Black. I go to my dentist. My dentist is Black. I go to the grocery store. And it ranges from CEOs to people who work in labor jobs. Like, it doesn't matter. But there you have all these people around here. And I think the people here, I was telling someone, I said, you guys are kind of in a bubble because you have so many opportunities here that actually is everywhere. It's just right there in their face, and they don't really understand it because it's so common here that it's not I never had a Black doctor in California. I never, had seen Black CEOs or be able to go out and see, people driving, Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis that look like me. That was just, it didn't make sense. So to be able to provide that for my kids and up close and personal, right? Not being the biggest fish around, but, me being kind of the poorest one around here at this point, so to speak. But to be able to provide that for my children and then be able to just spread it across the nation is what we really want to do. Because there was a Forbes article in 2017 that said by the year 2053, Black median wealth was going to be at 0, and the wealth gap was widening. Wow. And you have 400 years of they had a 400 years advantage over us. But now with the power of the internet, the power with the information, because now, like you said, we can read, we do have access, we can get access to all of these things. You don't need a college degree, you don't need to be super smart. You just have to have consistency. What else did you say you needed in order to get these government
commitment?
Right?
Consistent, persistent, and commitment.
Consistent, persistent, commitment. That's not a college degree. That's not rocket science. It's consistent, persistent, and commitment. That's it. And if you can dedicate yourself to those 3 things, then you can be making millions of dollars for your children and bettering the life of your children. That's what this is about. That's what the Net 7 Collective is about, is introducing all of these concepts to the ladies to be able to show them and ways to create their net worth, increase their net worth by 7 figures. Let me just show you guys this video real quick of one of the ladies in Net 7.
It has been a privilege and an honor to be part of this cohort. Constance has done an amazing job at placing systems to allow us to understand how to prosper in our businesses. We have strategically taken the time each week to come together to understand how to build a business, how to brand a business, how to use real estate, how to use life insurance. We have bonus days where there are speakers who come and they share their stories and their goals and their successes. We have an accountability coach that I have learned to realize that she really is like a best friend to me. It has been an amazing journey. I have grown so much. Now all my fears are now my strengths.
And that's how I connected with Paula, is just bring people like her in to be able to help these ladies to build true generational wealth. So you guys all have information to this is why I pay for my gym membership. I love it. But this is why you guys all have the information that you need in order to sign up. Sign up for Paul. This cohort is getting ready to start on the 27th. If you are interested in building your wealth, building generational wealth through government contracts and setting up something for your children. And, I was talking to a girlfriend, she has a, $50 million company. And she was like, I'm tired. My kids don't really want to, I could sell my business, because that's what a lot of these business owners do. They sell their business and make millions of dollars. And now she could take that money and then she could invest it in something else or do something else with her children. There's so many options, and you're not limited when you're able to create something in that way.
Let me correct something for you.
Yes.
The cohort that I'm doing specifically for you, because we have to have a minimum of at least 15 people for me to teach it. That cohort will start Wednesday, January 17th.
That's what
from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Okay, what date is that? January
17th.
Yes. So you guys better register right now. And this is not just for women. This is for everybody from all walks of life are welcome to be a part of this cohort starting on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Tell us the price again.
$19.97 individually, for $29.97 for teaming partners.
You cannot beat.
And it's just for this cohort. You won't get that discount. Everyone else, that class will start January 23rd for the general public. That cost is $2,500. So I encourage you to make it happen. Make that a goal for 2024.
And for some reason, this link is not popping up on all of the other, because we have like a bunch of other platforms that it's on. So if you can't get the link, if the link doesn't show up where you are, just send me a DM on Instagram or on Facebook, and then I'll send you the link for the cohort if you have a single person, or if you have. But here's a strategy, you guys. Here's a strategy, Paula. I'm sorry. If you can get two, you might want to get two, because that discount is even deeper. $29.97 for two people, girl. So if you can get two people in there, if you can get a partner and you guys split that $29.97 or $29.95, which is what it turns out to be, about $1,900 a piece or somewhere.
$1,500.
$1,500 each. You cannot beat that. The more, the merrier. Get on it. Invest in yourself. This is a great investment, and it's going to change your life. Paula's out here changing lives. Paula, one more time before we go, how many people? What's the total amount of contracts you've helped people get?
$1.5 billion across various industries. And I believe God connects kindred spirits. And I thank you, Constance, for hearing, seeing, and executing, and understand what we're doing here. And understand it's not even about you or me. It's not even about this. This is still little money. It's about changing our future.
Yeah. And that's what I love. And that's why God connected us. God, everything, God, y'all don't even know how God be gotten, but God guided this. Somebody said, government contracts, are there any opportunities for small Black women owned NFPS? What's an NFPS, Paula?
I don't know what NFPS is, but there's contracts for small businesses. Let's start with small, because I think this space, everybody has driven and saying you have to have all these certifications. So
That's what I was talking.
everybody leaves where I have these certifications. And I'm saying that's the wrong way. We have to understand first, I'm a small business. And by the way, I have these certifications, a different approach.
See, that's the thing, Paula, because when I go to them meetings, people be like, well, I got the certifications. Why I can't get the contracts?
Mm-mm. Because you're already setting yourself up and trying to depend on those certifications as opposed to you just being able to compete as a efficient small business.
Mm, wow. Thank you, Paula. This has been totally amazing.
Thank you.
And if I hope that people take advantage of this. Y'all don't know. But here's the thing, because this is going to be on replay. People are going to see it after the 19th. If they want, if they see it after the 19th and they want to register for any of your other courses, they can go to gpiwin.com.
That is correct.
Let me go back to the GPI Win.
God'sPlanIWin.com.
Come on. GPIwin.com. Because even at the full price, you're getting a great deal. And I'm telling you, this lady is well respected throughout the United States. I've gotten confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And it's like, I'm just telling you, God has just been doing some amazing, miraculous things where he it goes back to, once you make a decision and you set intention, God's going to put all the right people, all the right things, all the right elements in place to make it happen. And I set an intention to do this. God brought me Paula. You said your word for 2024 was what?
Intentional and strategic.
And what does that mean?
Meaning I'm intentionally targeting my community. I'm strategically aligning myself with organizations that service my community.
She's trying to help y'all out. She's trying to help y'all Black people out. And if you don't take advantage of this, I don't know what to tell you. But guess what? When I get my $20 million contract and I'm riding my Lamborghini, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying, I don't want to be the only one out here with money. Paula's here to help all of us. And then also the thing is, I mean, I know everybody don't get access to Paula like I do, but Paula has just been very gracious with giving, especially the ladies in our cohort, such great access and just being a huge resource, and really being personally vested in making sure that we get everything we need so that we win. And that's the reason I love you so much, Paula. So thank you.
Thank you. And this is you're the first person that interviewed me. Yeah. I'm usually on the other side, so this was different.
Somebody asked, will it be replays if you miss a class? And yes, you go back into, because everything is on Google Classroom. And so you can go back and watch all the videos. You get access to all the resources, the PowerPoints. Listen, she got tests. You can't go to the next step until you pass a test. She got midterms. It is not a game. She making sure you understand this. Let me tell you something. My first test, I don't think I passed. She was like, and then she called me. I was like, damn, I got a call from the teacher. But what happened was I just copied my daughter. I didn't even study. So that was bad. But no, it is really not a game. Like, she's really serious about making sure that you understand all of the stuff. So there are replays available. All the resources are in Google Classroom. You do have office hours. So that's where Paula comes in and she answers questions about anything that you have and just kind of helps you through. So
No soldier left behind unless they want to be left behind. And
No excuses. There's
no.
no excuses. There's no excuses why you can't get this money.
Hmm.
None at all. Thank you, Paula. I love you.
Thank you.
All
And
right.
hello to your audience. Um,
Any last words?
Understand that you are the game changer for your family.
Mm,
The reason you're sitting here, the reason you are listening was for a purpose. We just thought of this what an hour ago.
yeah. Yes.
So those that heard the call and jumped on, are you really going to take that next step to invest in yourself and your family?
It's on you.
That's on you. And I thank you again, Constance,
I
for
thank you. You've been so great. And I'm just grateful for the alliance that I have with you. Um, just God put me in certain places. And like I said, the person that I knew when I set the intention, there's somebody here that's going to change my life. It was Paula Watts. And so I appreciate you being that person and helping me along the way and helping the people that I love along the way. I appreciate the work that you are doing in the community to change and transform lives. So
yes.
thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank
They
you.
said they own it. They said they own it.